Hello there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again, and last deck of the week. Doing something I'm not very good at playing, I'll be honest. It's a deck featuring Alania, Divergent Storm, 3 blue and red for a 3/5 Otter Wizard, legendary creature. And whenever you cast your first or instant sorcery or other Otter spell, first other Otter spell other than Liana, you basically give your opponent a card, and then you get to copy that spell. Yeah, 5 mana for this seems a little bit high to me, but I suppose if you're going to copy something for free and haven't got to pay anything extra or do anything too fancy to do it for the first one each turn, not too bad. So I've had a think about it, and this is what I've come up with for Alania today. Just my usual health warning for when I'm playing usually an Izzet deck or a blue deck that has one certain card in it. Ignore the monetary value of the deck. You can tell by the artwork here what card it is you can take out. Obviously online it's about 70 tickets, so it's not too sad online. But in real life, you're looking at multiplying that by 100. So yeah, don't worry about it too much. Just drop that card there, which I'll talk about in a second. You know which one it is. Anyway. Creatures, starting off with nothing too fancy. We've really gone through the original. Okay, we're playing sorceries, we need to do the sorcery thing. So we've got Baral, Chief of Compliance, to cut the cost down. Curious Homunculus, eventually to flip it to cut the cost down again and have a prowess 3/4 creature. But in the meantime, 2 mana gives you a bit of a ramp to play your instants and sorceries. Obviously, it's a red deck, Dockside here. We need it for the ramp, we need the treasures it's going to give us. Firebrand Archer is also in. Non-creature spells deal 1 damage to each opponent. Thank you. Goblin Electromancer's in to cut the cost down even more. And I know there's a new version of this. I realised after I built this deck and did it all on here, so you can also drop in the new one from Bloomburrow as well. Can't remember the name of it, but there is one. I think it's one of the Otters if I remember correctly, but I can't remember the name of it. So yeah, there are 2 versions of this now, so that could go in over something else. Keswick the Flame Breather is also in as well. Deal 1 damage to each opponent for each non-creature spell. And then Ral Moon Sage Mage is in as well. Cuts the cost of your instants and sorceries down, and hopefully at some stage we can flip it and get it turned into the Leyline Prodigy, which makes things even better for us. So yeah, it's all good. Saheeli, the Sun's Brilliance, makes an appearance. We can copy our artifacts as they're coming into play. We do have a few. Copying them could be useful, so we'll get to them shortly. Otherwise, we're just going to copy some of the other creatures. Scalding Viper is also in. Gives a little bit of bounce, and then whenever an opponent casts a spell mana value 3 or less, we get to do 1 damage to them. Stormcatcher Mentor is in. Haste Prowess, that's one of the Otters coming in from Bloomburrow. Third Path Iconoclast, so we get the soldier tokens. Young Pyromancer, so we get the red elementals. We know all this. This is nothing unusual for an Izzet deck. Bothersome Quesit is a new one though. Goaded creatures your opponent's control can't block, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, go target creature an opponent controls. Does keep you alive, believe it or not, and it works actually really quite well in this deck. Frolicking Familiar, 1 damage to something, or then whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, it gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. Spectacle Mage cuts down the cost of our instants and sorceries with mana value 5 or more, and it's got flying, so it gives a little bit of in the air protection. Adric Astral Archmage is quite nice. We get to flip it around. Yes, it only is going to cost everything down by 1, but hopefully we can make it become day and night a couple of times to cut the cost of our spells down even more. Maniform Hellkite to give us some dragons to attack with when we cast all our non-creature spells. Wizards of Thay are very nice if you get the Myriad up and running, and then it means your instants and sorceries which you want to play in your second main phase or during combat really do help. But be aware, obviously the tokens disappear at the end of combat, so the cost is really reduced. For instance, not so much for sorceries, but it helps. But we can cast our sorcery spells with flash if we need to during combat, so bear that in mind. So you could reduce them by up to sort of 3 mana. Helpful. Zathi, the Thunder Conductor, we're not going to get up to the spell mana value of 10, however the mana value of 5 and 1, or the mana value 5 or below that, we probably will get some elemental, blue and red elemental 4/4s and do a bit of scrying. Melik had to be here just so we can play the top card revealed and play our instants and sorceries at the top of our library. And don't forget, when we cast an instant or sorcery from our library, we get to copy it. So this and Alania in play, if it's the first instant sorcery, gives us a couple of copies, which can sometimes be really beneficial with this deck. The final creature, which is one we really do need to try and keep alive if we can, is Avika, Enigma Goliath, the red 1/1 Phyrexian Goblin tokens with haste every time we cast a non-creature spell. Really do punch through and help us win the game quite quickly, so try and keep Avika alive when we get there. Just one Planeswalker. I went with Saheeli the Gifted, just so we can get some servo tokens and then do the +1 for the next spell you cast this turn, to cast one less for each artifact we control. Not too bad, and then we can copy all our artifacts if we need to. Great if we're copying certain things that are coming up, but yeah, it's just another way of cutting the cost down. Plus it gives you a blocker. It's one of the few, I think it's the only blue-red Planeswalker that protects itself by making a token. I think, I may be wrong, but I think that's right. Anyway, spells, here we go. There's a whole load of things you would expect. So all the card drawing you expect, so Brainstorm, Opt, Ponder, Preordain, Simmer Visions are all here. Control comes in the form of Cyclonic Rift. Dramatic Reversal lets us untap everything. I think you can probably see where this is going with this card. Is It Charms a bit of fun. Counter target non-creature spell, 2 damage to something or draw 2, discard 2. Molten Duplication, we get to create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature, except it's an artifact, and then we get to sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. So yeah, I have, when I playtest this a little bit, I have Molten Duplicated the Maniform Hellkite and had a whole load of dragons, and yeah, it's quite easy to win the game when you do that, just so we're clear. Otterball Antics is just another creature, prowess Otter, and then we get to flash it back. So and if we play it, when we flash it back, we get to put a +1/+1 counter on the creature, so we get a 1/1 and a 2/2 Otter with prowess if we do it right. So it's pretty good. Chaos Warp a little bit more, get rid of the annoying thing. Jessica's Will, cards, land, you know the score. The very expensive card if you're trying to build this in real life, Time Twister. $2.98, well 2.98 tickets, so just under $3 on MTGO. About 7,000 I think in real life, 7,500. So yeah, maybe not the one you want. Chain Reaction for small control. Mizzet's Mastery to get to be able to overload and exile our cards from our graveyard and play them all without copy their mana cost. So that's quite cool. Echo Storm comes in when you cast a spell, copy it for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone. You may choose new copies for the targets, create a token that's a copy of target artifact. That's quite nice, gives us a nice way to ramp up some of our ramp spells. Elemental Eruption, this is the one that we do need to cast after we've cast a few of the cheap things to get all those lovely dragons with prowess. Expansion Explosion, copy or deal some damage and draw some cards. Mind's Desire to go through the whole storm effect again. Time Spiral to shuffle everything back in and draw 7 and then untap 6 lands and exile Time Spiral. I literally went and picked this card up. I haven't picked one up beforehand, but it just seems so at home in this deck, especially if we, doing it twice can be quite nice. You can float all that nice mana. Animatu's Augury, exile top 8 cards of our library, put a land card from them onto the battlefield until the end of turn for each non-land card type. You may cast a spell of the type without choosing its mana cost. So basically in this deck you get an instant sorcery, a creature and an artifact. Maybe an enchantment if you're really lucky to hit one, but yeah, paying without the mana cost is really quite nice. Blasphemous Act lets us control the board, and then Clone Legion. You find the person who's got the most creatures in play, you cast Clone Legion on them and watch them go, oh, how do I deal with this now then? Because you've now got exact copies of what they've got. Really good if someone's decided to play some of the indestructible Eldrazi I've discovered. People don't like when you do that, so it's good. Artifact wise, ramp and a little bit more ramp. Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, the Fire Diamond, Ruby and Sapphire Medallions, Sky Diamond, Talisman Creativity and Thought Vessel give us a whole load of ramp. There are 2 cards I've missed out. Elixir of Immortality, because we do need to shuffle in all our instances of sorceries at some stage. And yeah, you saw the one that untaps everything. We had to have Icecrown Scepter to go alongside it, because why would you not? Doesn't make any sense if you don't really, so they're both here. A few enchantments, this is what I was saying, it's a bit hard to hit them off the Augury. We've got Storm Chaser's Talent, which is one of the new rares from Bloomberry. Enters get a 1/1 auto with prowess, becomes level 2, you get to return an instant sorcery, and then if you really do want to try and get to the level 5 with this one as soon as possible. Purely because when you get to level 3, you pay the 6 mana, cast your instant sorceries, you get auto tokens. Yeah, that's really quite good in this deck. Artist's Talent is also quite nice, comes into play, or whenever you cast a non-creature spell you may discard then draw. And then get to level 2, everything goes down by 1. And then get to level 3, if a source you control will deal non-combat damage to opponent or permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus 2. You don't need to get to level 3, you need to get to level 2. Just so we're clear. Right. Search for Cancer comes in as our 37th land once we get to flip. Sorcerer class just means all our creatures that we're hopefully getting can be tapped for red or blue mana to help us cast our instants and sorceries, and then when we cast instants and sorceries, we do want to get this one to level 3. That instant or sorcery deals damage to each opponent equals the number of instants and sorcery spells we've cast each turn. So getting this to level 3, then just chaining together some spells is really very helpful. Bear that in mind. Font of Magic is a weird one. Instant and sorcery spells cost 1 less for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone in this game. If you cast Alania a couple of times, you are going to be very happy seeing Font of Magic in play, put it that way. Even if Alania is not in play, Font of Magic coming into play still reduces the cost of the instants and sorceries. Nice. And the final one, Jace's Sanctum. Whenever we cast an instant sorcery, scry 1 and cuts the cost by 1. Land-wise, all the red-blue lands you would normally expect to see in such a deck as this. I have, for the first time this week, Reliquary Tower is making an appearance in the deck, and that's really it. But everything else, blue or red, dual lands, and some other things to back it up. 10 mountains, 10 islands, because I decided to go that way. The original duel, if you have one on MTGO or in real life, feel free to play at Volcanic Island. I don't have one. They're still quite pricey on MTGO, so it would, one of these would be cut for the Volcanic Island if I wanted to, but hey, that's the way it goes. And that is my take on Alania. I will be playing Alania on stream at some stage. Blue-red, not particularly my strong suit of playing, I'll be honest. It's probably one of the colour pairings I need to get better at playing, because they do tend to turn up more in Commander than I expect to. But I will be playing this on stream as soon as possible. It may be, if I can get a stream in this week, it'll be tonight, so you can watch me play tonight, but I'll put a note up on the YouTube channel if things are not happening. But there will be a stream on Saturday this week instead of Sunday, because things are happening on Sunday that I'm going to. But for now, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be back next week with some more decks. There's a nice stream replay coming up tomorrow if you want to watch that, but what I would really ask is, please hit the subscribe button if you can. 481 as I should record this video today, so I'm 19 short on my target, so if you can help out subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. And come and follow me on Twitch, you can see me play all the decks I've talked about this week. But for now, thanks for watching, take care, I'll see you in the next week, bye.